part of the marriage vows which says, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do us part, seems to have been thrown to the wind and left to gather dust, especially in these our modern times. Gone are the days when you saw our parents, grandparents stick together for years. People celebrate 20 years of marriage anniversaries, 30 years, and even 40 years of marriage anniversaries. But these days, what do you have? The rising cases of divorce stares us blankly in the face. From celebrities to your neighbors to normal, everyday people. Every day you see divorces happening here and there. And so it leaves a bitter taste in the mouth or a sour taste for people that are desiring to get married. And so why do olden days marriages last longer than the new school marriages? Because we've seen this happen with our grandparents, with our parents. But in our times, what we have everywhere is just divorce here, separation there. So why is this trend happening in this our time and age? My name is Emmanuel Bamdele, your host for Shalayetv. You're welcome to this week's episode of the Why series. Welcome. Welcome back, people. It's still Shalayetv. I said earlier that we're discussing about why olden days marriages last longer than new school marriages. Now, why did this happen, or why does this happen? We have a few reasons to give you why all this is happening. Number one, people no longer marry for the sake of love. Like in those days, people married because they were really into themselves. Like they loved themselves. They were really like into the relationship. They were looking at what to get from each other. The man was looking at, the potentials, the values of the female, and then the female was also doing the same thing, looking at the potential of the male. But what do you have these days? People marry because of just because of lust, because they're looking at not the values, not the potentials, not about love. It's all about lust these days. Infidelity. Now let me go to the Bible, Hebrews 13 verse 4, to paraphrase. It says, marriage is honorable in all and the bed undefiled. It means that the marriage bed is sacrosanct and is meant to be respected by both husband and wife. You see, people in those days honored their marriage. Like people were so concerned about honoring their wives and their husbands with their body, because they saw their body as belonging only to the husband or to the wife. But these days, what happens is that people get easily tempted. Very, very easily tempted, because in those days, you didn't have the likes of social media like Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, Instagram, that makes it easier for people to want to cheat. So what do you have these days? You have a lot of cases of cheating, which leads to a break of trust in the marriage. You see, in those days, people were very faithful because really there was no time to cheat. People went to work, came back, went to their houses and stuck with their families. There were less hotels, less brothels. There were, no social media for you to start talking to one girl onto one guy and cheating on your partner. But this day, what do you have? People find it out to stay faithful to their partners. They become easily lured by what they see on all these social media pages that I've mentioned. Like, you just go on Instagram, go on Facebook. It's not unusual for you to see a guy chatting up a girl. If you go to some of girls' Facebook messages, you see tens of guys, or maybe hundreds, chatting her up. So it's going to be very easy. Even if she's married, they know she's married, but they are chatting her up to just get her attention, and because she's beautiful and all that. Or for the guys, they go on Instagram and then they see beautiful, pretty ladies everywhere, and don't be surprised, these ladies chat the guys up. Married men. And then what happens after that? It leads to a case of cheating, which would lead to a break in trust, and ultimately there will be a break in the marriage. So one of the reasons why people, no longer stay in their marriages, infidelity is definitely a part of them. Number 3, the rise of feminism. Now, don't get me wrong, feminism in itself is not a bad thing. It's a good concept. Equal rights for both men and women. But you see, especially in our culture and tradition, Nigerian ladies, or African in general, try to misconstrue the concepts of feminism. Feminism talks about equal rights and justice for both genders, not one going above the other. So this tends to affect the marriages in our culture or in our parts of this world, or even all over the world, because it's not only in Nigeria or in Africa that people view the concept of feminism as something that's not supposed to be. Like, people think that because they're feminist or because there's equal right for everybody, they can't submit to the man. Now, submission to the man is not just from the female side alone. The men are also advised to love their wives as they love themselves. So what do you have? You have a case of a female, because she's seen somebody call herself a feminist, now go ahead to start misbehaving in the house. You don't expect to eat with a plate or have dirty clothes at home, or you have kids and you expect your husband to come and wash the plates, cook, clean, take care of the kids when you're not incapacitated. So this leads to a lot of issues in our marriages these days, because some men grew up in that culture of seeing their parents or seeing their mom submit totally to their dad. Their dad had the final say. So they are not totally mentally okay to be a part of this feminism struggle. Now, feminism is good, yes, but when Nigerian females or African females or females all over the world start to get it wrong, is when they try to lord it over the man. The man is a man, the woman is a woman. Equal rights and justice, equal rights and opportunities does not mean that one party has to now use that as an opportunity to go over the other. So let's keep it straight up. Let's keep it right. In those days, you had women who submitted to their husbands, and then you had husbands who loved their wives. So it's all about getting it right. Husband, love your wives. Wives, submit to your husbands. So let's leave the case of feminism for now and go to the next point on Shalayetv. Okay, welcome back. Number 4, domestic violence. I wouldn't make a case for this, but I think in those days you had a much saner society. Men went to jobs, there was no traffic or less traffic. Men went to jobs that they loved to do. There were, a lot of jobs that people worked because of the passion. There were, a lot of opportunities that people keyed into. And so it was very easy for a man to come back and still be mentally okay. But these days you have a case of a less saner society. What we have is psychologically frustrated men and even mentally imbalanced women because of what their boss had done to them at work. Now, this leads to a case of domestic violence. Somebody once said that domestic violence by men is as a result of psychological abuse by women. Now, we're not making an excuse for the man or for the woman, but these days you have people who are more psychologically imbalanced. Men come back from work and they are frustrated with the traffic, with a conductor, with a driver. They are frustrated with the roads, with their boss and all that. So what we have these days is a case of men constantly beating their wives because their wives don't understand what they've gone through the day. And so this leads to a case of domestic violence. Now, domestic violence is not only for the man. Some women also beat their husbands. You have some cases, but it's very rare to see a man coming out to talk about his wife beating him. So we have more cases of the men beating their wives in our days, in our times. And so this leads to a break in the marriage, because at the end of the day, you have swollen eye, you have black face, you have all that, you have bloods, you have everything. So when it gets too much, the woman might want to opt out of the marriage. So domestic violence is also a key component that we need to address in making our marriages work these days. A man needs to be, mentally okay, psychologically okay, and the woman also needs to feel the pulse of the man in today's marriages. So you have less cases of domestic violence and also less cases of divorce and separation in marriages. Finally, our last reason. Now we have a million reasons why there are rising cases of divorce, or why olden days marriages last longer than new marriages. Last reason is overindulgence in pornography. Yes, pornography, it's one cancer that's gradually killing marriages in this part of the world. Now you have men and women who are addicted to this kind of sexual perversion, or whatever it's called. So this ultimately leads to a break in the marriage. How? You have your phone these days, you have your laptop, you have your palm top, you have your iPad and all that, and with just one click, you're not even looking for it, but it happens that you're just doing some other things on your phone or on some other device, and then these things pop up and you are lured to go and check out what's happening on those sites. Now, it's easy to get addicted these days. It's very, very easy to get addicted. So what do you have? You have people who over time get addicted to this kind of perversion. People get addicted to this, to pornography, as as a pastime for them. People are at work, they're watching pornography, they come back home and they continue from where they stopped at work. This ultimately affects sexual performances, because this men or women who watch this kind of things will not see their partner as anything. So they are less interested in having sex with their partners. They find more pleasure in watching pornography. They find more pleasure in watching people do these things on their screen, on their phone and all that. And this also leads to over expectations. People expect more from their partners. Like, people just think that what they are watching is so real. So when they are having sex with their partners, they are expecting their partners to do the same thing that they saw on their screen, that they saw on the internet. So they over expect from their partners to do this kind of things, forgetting that some of these porn movies or videos are staged. It's edited, it's staged, it goes through a whole lot of things before it comes out that way. So it's not what you're seeing. It's not really about what you're seeing. It's something else. So at the end of the day, this thing has been edited, and it can decrease sexual satisfaction, because when your partner is not performing as the video that you're watching, or the woman that you're seeing in that video, you get frustrated because you think that your husband or your wife should last longer. Meanwhile, these things are just, they're acted out. It's acting. So overindulgence in pornography can lead to a break in marriage, because it leads to something else for both the male and the female. You're expecting something and getting something else. But this is not the way it is, because these videos are edited, and it also leads to a decrease in self-esteem. Yes, because you can feel that, man, I'm not trying hard enough. Look at what this man is doing on the screen. Look at what this woman is doing on the screen. I'm supposed to be doing this. But so you just forget about the whole entertainment value of what you're watching and move on to what you're supposed to be doing. If you have a low self-esteem, definitely you're going to have a problem in the marriage, which will eventually lead to a breakup. Now we're giving you reasons why olden days marriages last longer than new marriages. These are just a few reasons of so many reasons that we have causing this anomaly in our marriages these days. So we expect you to give us your own reasons why you think olden days marriages last longer than new days marriages. All you have to do is subscribe to our channel at Shalayetv turn on notifications, give us your comments, and we'll work on everything you say. We're part and parcel of of this great movement called Shalayetv. So we expect you to come on and be a part of this success story. It's Shalayetv to the world, people. So we're coming with different segments of why people, why, and why. The why series is what we call it on Shalayetv. So catch it, guys, next time. It's Emmanuel Eklubamdele on the TV. Catch you next time, people.